So I had prepared the speech, but a lot of the people who I was going to address that speech have left. So I just wanted, before I start that speech, I wanted to say a quick comment. This panel that just happened is an out-of-the-book example of what youth participation is not. This has been shameful, and I'm sorry to say, This is not the deal we have, and especially DG representatives here in the room. This is not the agreement we have in the framework of the structured dialogue of the EU. This is not the deal we have. You don't get to come here to talk to us standing here on a stage. You come here to debate with us on an equal level. We come here to develop solutions, common solutions to improve the lives of young people in Europe. Because let me remind you, without these young people in the room, your policies don't work. And what just happened is really the worst example of youth participation that we could have shown our UN partners on a global level. This region is supposed to be leading the conversation around youth participation around the world. And we just did not do that. So as the spokesperson of 150 million young people in this continent, I will not allow public institutions or governments or anyone to treat my constituents like this. You do not get to come here to talk to them. Come here and engage in meaningful youth participation with this, because if not, this will not work. Now, on a more positive note, because I did come here to say positive things, I did have some words for the Commissioner. I hope he comes back. But I know, I'm glad to have Eva and Jayatma here. But especially dear youth delegates and friends, dear, if there's representatives from the European Commission, Jayatma, UN Youth Envoy, Member of the European Parliament, and President of the European Movement International, Eva, and my beloved DGs, of course. It really is a great honor to be here as the European Youth Forum. It's a pity that the only young European elected representative got to be at the end. But the good news is that we have a brand new set of youth goals developed jointly by you and governments. So congratulations, because you've just started changing the biggest youth consultation process in the world. So congratulations to all of you. A quick thank you to the Bulgarian presidency for setting this up. Obviously, there are learnings, and we need to get better. We need to refine and optimize this process. But we really need that quality support from EU governments to make sure young people's voices are heard in these. The Bulgarian presidency did put youth at the top of the agenda, so we hope that moving forward, other presidencies take that example and really engage meaningfully with young people. The fact that young people have decided these youth goals and that these youth goals should include policy aspirations beyond youth participation, volunteering, and youth organizations, but instead covering a wide variety of issues, shows that young people are interested and present in the current political debates around the future of Europe and ready to drive change. So now EU institutions and member states need to be as ready with young people to make sure that these young people are committed and recognized for their work. DGs, you already know how much I appreciate the work. You do know that I see you as our activists disguised inside the governments, but really, again, without you, this cannot work. You really need to engage meaningfully. You need to take this seriously, and you need to engage when things are not realistic and are not working out. You need to say it, because this process, you are so vital to this process that this cannot work without you. So thank you for the work you do, and I really hope that we continue engaging with you on this. The European Parliament elections have been mentioned already. They're approaching next year, in fact, almost a year from now. Those of you from the 28 member states have already had their voices heard today. But for the European elections, we need you not only to get out and vote, but also encourage all of your friends to come with you. You need to be the annoying one, pulling them out of bed on the morning of polling day. Be the one that starts the conversation about voting, that annoying one that always starts the conversation. And be the one that makes sure that their voices are heard. and especially be the ones through your activism and your youth organizations, the ones to tell the stories of how Europe has changed our lives for the better and why it's worth to vote for the European Parliament elections. In less than 1 month, the European Commission will present the proposal for the next EU strategy, and this strategy must be the instrument to make sure our voice is heard in policy debates and strive for equal opportunities for all young people, not leaving anyone behind. Today, we presented the youth goals, and we're looking forward to see those goals reflected in the next youth strategy. Those are the voices, as mentioned already, of 50,000 young people who have worked tirelessly to get their opinion through. So they really must be heard. And here I had a message prepared for Commissioner Navracic. I'm pretty sure you will all make sure he receives the message through social media. He really needs to step up his game, and he really needs to be our ally right now in the European Commission, in the European Commission negotiations, to make sure this European Youth Strategy is a complete success. The drafting of European Commission proposals is a real jungle, and we need to be there supporting the Commissioner as much as we can to make sure that passes. But even those with 50,000 young people participating in the structured dialogue, we can even go further. I'm happy to hear that the researchers from the European Youth Researchers Pool reported that diverse groups of young people were consulted. The next structured dialogue process needs to build on this and reach out more, better, higher, and more inclusively to diverse groups of young people and have the means and resources to do so. And our national youth councils and international youth organizations are key to this process, and they're central to this conversation. Our vision is to go to young people instead of waiting for them to find us. Some of them will already find us, but how about those who have lost trust in politics? Almost that 25% of young Europeans who are at risk of poverty and social exclusion, fighting for a dignified life. Their voices deserve to be heard as much as anyone else's. And the fact is that we may require to go the extra mile to make sure that happens. I really want to thank Dani, thank you from here, and Panayotis, because inclusion and making this process more inclusive is a real priority, and we should really, all of us, make a big effort to make sure that happens. Next point, feedback in this process is something that we haven't cracked quite yet. The feedback is essential. We cannot expect more young people to take part in this process of the structured dialogue if they do not receive feedback of where their input is going. They need to hear from their local municipality about the idea to have youth centers in town 500 kilometers away from the capital, which will provide a safe space for them to stop engaging in unhealthy activities. They need to hear from their education ministries of what happened with those proposals to include citizenship education and formal education curricula. And they need to hear from the European Commission what will happen to their input to the next EU strategy. Accountability is a crucial part of quality youth policy. Not only accountability for public administration, also for us, young leaders elected, for those who voted for us. So the next structured dialogue will need to have a clear and simple follow-up mechanism that would show young people that what has been implemented, and while being pragmatic, why something wasn't followed up. Be it lack of resources, be it lack of expertise, and even be it lack of political will. That is also a message that young people need to hear. If not, we'll be losing all of these young people who are engaging in the structured dialogue because they don't hear where their input is going. So we have set a really ambitious set of priorities and goals, but we need to have sufficient resources to make them a reality. So the upcoming EU strategy, if well-resourced, if it works cross-sectorally and builds on the existing participatory spaces and tools for young people, will be an absolute success. And I want to use the opportunity that I have Jayatma here. Let me once again congratulate you, this time in European soil, for your appointment as the UN Secretary General Envoy on Youth, and confirm the commitment from the European Youth Forum, our national youth councils, and our INGYOs, and young people in Europe to contribute to the conversations at global level. And Youth Up, UN in need of, quoting our friend Kate Gilmore, the most powerful renewable energy in the world. Youth. So we also want a UN youth strategy which recognizes us as regional youth platforms, such as the European Youth Forum and its vast representative membership, as key pillars of the work of the UN, and a youth strategy that creates spaces and channels for young people and democratic youth organizations to participate. So we're really counting on you to help us on a UN level. Now, I'm slowly coming to an end. I really want to hear for you to put your hand up. Who of you have heard of the Erasmus Plus program? Right, good. If you didn't put your hand up, I would be scared. You all know the Erasmus Plus program is a great program. We all know it. We all have benefited from it one way or another, and it has transformed our lives in ways we could have never imagined. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that opportunity. It truly disrupted my life, making me fall in love with Europe in a way that no other program could. It was through EU-funded youth work. And the fact is that the structured dialogue is also paid and powered by the Erasmus Plus program. That quality youth work that we have in the EU changes the lives of young people in a very powerful way that nothing else does. And we really need to cherish it and keep investing in it. We need to continue doing what we do well in Europe. And quality youth work is one of the best flagships this continent has. So we really hope that a lot of resources go to this. You have all seen the benefits of the Erasmus program and its impact on young people, delivering a value for every euro spent. But while you probably know this, a lot of excellent projects are submitted. There's not enough money to finance them all. So research tells us that projects many times stay on paper. It is for this reason that we at the Youth Forum with partners are calling for 10 times more Erasmus budget. For every young person that is participating in projects, Erasmus Plus exchanges, and gets to study abroad, we want 10 young people to have this experience. Just imagine what a game changer it would be. What a transformational change of such a size that it could actually move the course of our union. So a petition to you, help us fight for 10 times more the Erasmus Plus budget and ensure that there's enough space for young people. And for the European Commission people here, we say 10. Not 3 times, not 5 times, 10 times. Only 10 times will be the transformative change that this continent needs. And I'm finishing, I promise. We already have heads of state joining this call. President Macron, President Rajoy, Prime Minister Costa, all prime ministers are joining the cause of increasing the budget by 10. We've created this momentum that we really cannot miss this opportunity. So please join us in fighting at each one of your levels of government to increase this budget by 10. And let's make history because we really have the opportunity to do so. To end, just wanted to remind you that so the youthquake was mentioned at the beginning of this conference, and it was named the word of 2017. So I want to ask you all to see if we can make it also the word of 2018, and let's try to shake things up. In June, we will be hosting in the European Parliament in Strasbourg 8,000 young people for the European Youth Event and the YoFest. We hope all of you will be there. I think Jayatma will be there. Last week, I was at the European Parliament with former French President Giscard d'Estaing, and he asked me a question like, Louis, do you think the young generation is hungry for change in Europe? And I just really hope that he could be here and listen to all the stories and powerful messages that you have and tremble and, you know, and get scared, because I think our envoy says it very well. This generation will be, it's not any young generation, this young generation will be the young generation fixing the issues of this era, fixing climate change, fixing gender equality, fixing equity, fixing accessing the rights of the disadvantaged groups, and achieving sustainable development. Only this generation has the capacity, the drive, and the skills to do so. We are a disruptive generation by nature. So I invite you all to shake things up, be disruptive with us, and come youth up Europe and the world with us. Thank you very much.